Nowhere on Earth can you walk a mile and stand before 20 surviving bottle ovens, each a monument to the men and women who built the potteries. The story starts at the Gladstone Pottery, named after the popular Liberal politician William Gladstone, who first became Prime Minister in 1868. It is now a museum that includes 7 ovens and buildings from 3 related neighbouring potteries. From the courtyard gates on Uttoxeter Road, we see the 4 updraught ovens, complete with their outer brick hovels. You can see the 6 ovens better from the entrance to the Pottery Museum car park. The best view is an aerial image from 1953, which shows the Gladstone China's 4 ovens and the 2 ovens of the Roslyn Works. It also shows, now part of the Gladstone Pottery Museum, a much smaller enamel or muffle kiln belonging to sister company Salisbury China. It is the only surviving kiln of its type anywhere in the world. The smallest of ovens, every pot bank would have at least 1 kiln to harden colours and gilding onto the glazed pots in a 1-day firing cycle. Their small size meant that they were easy to demolish, and so this is what happened. The 2 updraught stack ovens and buildings of the Roslyn Works still exist, but they are not in use. Last year, the assets were transferred as a going concern by Stoke Council to the Reform Heritage charity, who are considering regeneration options. A short walk from the museum car park on Chadwick Street and a left turn takes you along Normacott Road to the Sutherland Works. The Sutherland Works were operated by the Hudson and Middleton families and were one of the last firms producing quality bone china mugs and tea sets. Now split into 2 sites, the best views of the updraught skeleton ovens are from the rear on Beaufort Road. The Sutherland Works West, with 1 updraught oven, is famous because it was chosen to demonstrate the last firing of a bottle oven in 1978.
Atmospheric pollution hung like a pall over everything, over pot banks and masters' and pottery workers' houses alike.
Each of these towering ovens hid a fiery world inside, where saggers could be stacked 10 high, and the glow of the fire mouths could reach 1200 degrees. This rare footage is typical of all ovens.
At this stage, the fireman took over. His job was one of the most important in the pot bank. Every firing used a lot of coal. The fires were baited as necessary, some fire mouths receiving more coal than others, depending on the temperature to be reached, the design of the oven, and the direction of the wind. Conditions varied, and the fireman's skills in reading them were vital to the success of a firing. To begin with, the temperature was kept low while the moisture in the ware was driven out. Then baiting increased until, in about 48 hours, a maximum temperature of between 1000 and 1250 degrees centigrade was reached. The temperature was partly controlled by altering the position of the crown dampers and by the fire doors and regulating holes.
Dampers low.
fireman and his men would stay up with the firing, cooking their food and taking such rest as they could by the oven. Trial rings were taken from the different quarters of the oven towards the end of the firing. The firemen measured their contraction on a scale, and this indicated the stage the firing had reached. At the end of the firing, the dampers were adjusted, the fire doors opened, and the fires allowed to go out.
The Sutherland Works East, with 2 updraught ovens, is now operated by a supplier of kiln refractory and ceramic manufacturing equipment. Continuing to the end of Beaufort Road and turning left to walk up Warren Street, you cannot miss the Minkstone Works on Normancote Road. The Minkstone Works did not make pottery, but converted to make architectural concrete blocks. It's an example of adaptation post-ceramics. My research tells me that this building and oven were part of the willow pottery that created crested china until about 1930. The oven next to the building is in a state. It was once an updraught skeleton oven, so enclosed within the building, but it looks as if the building has a new wall to exclude the oven. And now the exposed oven has started to fall down. It's not how you treat a listed building. Returning along Normancote Road, we come across the 4 updraught stack ovens of the Enson Works, last operated by Stevenson Spencer up until 1960. In the last 15 years, over £10 million of lottery and other funding has been found to restore and redevelop this site into a school and conference facilities.
The Enson Works building was a derelict pottery factory with 4 large brick kilns. As part of core, the building has been converted and upgraded to form the main conference spaces, demonstrator spaces and workshop spaces for the project. The main conference space seats up to 100 people. We were very keen to maintain the open feel of the original factory space. The 3 kilns that are internal to the building are reused to provide efficient mechanical heat recovery ventilation. Hot stale air rises through the kilns to a heat recovery unit concealed in the upper chamber of the kiln. The heat is then transferred to temper incoming fresh air.
The factory was knocked down around the 4 ovens that have been restored, but this new use has not been sustainable, and Stoke Council has now transferred the site to the Reform Heritage organisation. Opposite the Enson Works is a lone, thin kiln. It was built not to fire pottery, but to calcine or oxidise flint and bone, which were 2 key ingredients for bone china. It represents a vital but often forgotten step, making the materials that fed the pot banks. Back along Uttoxeter Road, past Gladstone Pottery Museum, is the junction with Commerce Street. The 2 updraught skeleton ovens, like those at the Sutherland Works, were operated by the Chetham family until 1873, when they passed into the hands of H. Ainsley & Co. Out of use and at risk, it is currently a development site. At the far end of Longton, we continue along the main road towards Fenton. Next to the Stoke to Derby railway line, our final site is the Enson Works, the home of Thomas Forrester and Sons. The Enson Works was one of the largest sites in the potteries, employing over 700 workers. It was renowned for majolica earthenware in the Victorian period and later art pottery and bone china. It had 6 large ovens and now only 2 downdraft skeleton ovens and a tall chimney remain. The works closed in 1959 and the buildings have since been redeveloped for retail use. The best view of the 2 remaining ovens is from the other side of the railway line, now next to a large Tesco's supermarket. This concludes my story of Longton's 20 surviving bottle ovens, the biggest cluster amongst only 47 that exist today. Thanks to the Potteries Heritage Society, which has classified each of these ovens and organised the tour where I filmed these monuments. Please consider joining the Society and support the work that they do. If you enjoyed this clip or found it useful, please click the like button and do subscribe so that you do not miss future videos celebrating the ceramic heritage of Stoke-on-Trent. Thanks for watching.